everyone. I wanted to do a video about IVF injections, the progesterone in oil and the Delestrogen. So I did these for 3 different rounds. I did 2 rounds of IVF and then a ERA round, an endometrial receptivity analysis. You also have to do the progesterone in oil and Delestrogen. At least that was my protocol. And the progesterone in oil was every day, and the Delestrogen was every 3rd day. And that goes in your butt. Well, they say your butt, but it's actually like your hip. So in my tips, I'll show you like what area worked for me. If you haven't watched my video on the ERA, I'll link that below. I highly recommend that you watch it if you're about to do IVF. It is the only reason that I'm pregnant is because of that test. So be sure to check that out. In my guest bathroom, my hallway bath upstairs, I cleaned off the counters and set everything up in there so it's always clean. If we had guests, I would move it into our master bath. But for the most part, I would set up drawing up the injections in our guest bath. And I would keep the door closed because we have cats and they would jump up on the counters. The first round of IVF and the ERA test, we did the injections at night. And I think it was probably like 5 or 6 weeks of injections. Probably 5 weeks the first time and 4 weeks for the ERA. I'd have to look that up, but I think so. I'll make a note below if I got that wrong. And then when we actually got pregnant in September with the transfer, you go all the way, I think it was week 11 of being pregnant. So it's a lot of shots. And the needle's no joke. It's a big needle. And I can't believe like that goes in your like hip area. It's insane. Before I even dropped the injection, I would go downstairs, get a sandwich size Ziploc bag, fill it completely with ice, and then I would make sure I have like stretchy pants on with like maybe a tie, like a pair of sweatpants or something. So I would put the ice on the injection site and pull the tie tight so it holds it up. Then I would go up into the bathroom and draw up the injections while I'm icing. For me, I would recommend a 20-minute minimum icing, and then up to 30 minutes if you have the time is great too, because it really numbs it up. After I would drop the medicine, I would take the syringe, and especially the progesterone in oil, because it does have oil in it, so you want to warm it up. So I would just like stick it under my boob to try to warm it up. It really works well. I guess if maybe even your elbow would work, or under your knee. So any sort of place like that where, you know, you sweat a lot, probably not your underarm, but where you sweat a lot and it really warms it up, it's going to make it go in easier and then spread around easier once it goes in. This last round, we were actually doing the injections in the morning. So while my husband was showering, I would ice up, I would draw the injections up, I would put the needle under my boob, I would grab a swab, a Band-Aid, and then so I would sit in bed, and that way that the ice is hitting as much as your back as possible. And usually my husband, it would be close to the 20 minutes by that point, he would get out of the shower, and I would actually read, once we knew we were pregnant after the transfer, I would read the updates from the pregnancy app. So from Ovia and What to Expect, I would read the daily updates. So another really important thing is where you inject it. So what you're going to want to do is imagine your back, basically from hip to hip, into 4 even areas. So you want to be on the outer 4th area, and every day you want to switch which side you do. So you want to go in the outer quarter of both of your hips. So if your butt crack is in the middle, the outer edge. And then you want to hit the middle of that. And then what you want to do is basically like pinch your hip bone, and then wherever that is in the back to the top of your crack of your butt, so that area between the hip bone and the top of the crack of your butt, you want to hit the middle of that. And that's, for me, was the sweet spot. And I swear I did not feel these shots. I would feel one like maybe once every 2 weeks. I think he would hit like a blood vessel or something, and it would bleed really bad, and I would feel it, but it wasn't even that bad. It didn't hurt me at all. So they tell you can stand up and put your weight on one leg. I had to do the injections like 3 times probably on my own. Otherwise, my husband did them. And I did do them standing up, and I found them more difficult. So after I'm done icing 20 minutes, I would lay down on the edge of the bed. And then I would just take a full deep breath and try to relax. And I would lay on my stomach, obviously. And I would kind of do a body check and make sure like there's no tension. So like none of my muscles are clenched up, and definitely, you know, in your area where you're doing the injection, you want to make sure you relax and that nothing's clenched up or is tense. So then my husband would swab the area. I think they say do like 2 inches. And at first he would always blow it, and because I guess it's just your instinct. Don't blow on it, let it air dry, because they say like your spit could get into the site and infect it. So he would swab it like 2 inches around the injection site, and then I would like shake out my leg really good to make sure like my butt muscles and nothing was clenched up again. He would always say, "Are you relaxed?" And I would do one more deep breath, and then as I let out, I'd be like, "Yes." And then he would do the injection, and I swear I did not feel them 90% of the time. I don't know if it was the icing or the way he does it, and he would do it perpendicular like to the bed, so straight down and in. And so he would put it in, and then it would bleed every once in a while. And because your butt is iced, Band-Aids don't really stick. So the Band-Aids I got that stick were the Band-Aid Tough Strips. So I highly recommend these as well. So the next tip is to warm it up and massage it. So after he would put the Band-Aid on, he would kind of rub the area real good. And the reason you want to do that, you want to make sure the oil moves around, because otherwise it can create lumps. You probably will have lumps no matter what, but I'm pretty sure this helps to avoid it, is to massage that injection area really well and warm it up. The first round of IVF on these injections, I got really bad lumps. Like it hurt so bad, and we weren't rubbing it after. So the ERA and the second round we did, and you still get lumps, but they were nowhere near how bad they were in that first round of IVF. And then last, after he would massage it, I would get back in bed, prop the pillows up, and try to keep the pillows around the site to keep it warm, and massage it probably for like 5 more minutes, and just make sure there's heat on it, and try to warm up the injection site. Yeah, I just see these women, they don't ice or put any numbing things on them, and they're in so much pain, and I really think the icing really does help. Or it could just be I have a fatty ass, I'm not sure. It is really scary, the idea of this. The very first trigger shot I had to do, I think it was back in April, I did a shot of tequila before I did my shot. I hope these tips will help with IVF injections, and good luck to everyone who's about to start IVF.